Can someone go on the YouTube page and make sure we're live, please?
We're live.
Oh, we're live. Okay, now we're live.
Now we're live.
Now.
Wow.
Okay, well, let's try and introduce. Okay, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No one's gonna be like tuning in there.
No, because I had 3 people fucking waiting.
I had one of my friends waiting. She was excited to see this crap.
So.
I don't know how to check to see if we're actually.
Oh, we're live.
Oh,
Okay.
shit, look at that.
All right, what's up? I thought we were live for the past 15 minutes. We're live. We're good. We're ready to go.
There it is.
Like I said 15 minutes ago, thank you for joining us. We are really excited to be here. We're really scared to see what happens. I got my buddies with me. I got Springer, got my boy Dom, David, and Joey over here on the far left. We got a dog wandering around somewhere.
She's on my feet.
Awesome.
Doggy.
And yeah, so
We're gonna whore you out.
we you'll see the first 15 minutes in our edited version. But just to really summarize that, we don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. If Trump wins, he's gonna win at the very end of it.
If you like dogs, you watch this.
But I think at the end of the day, I think that Biden's gonna pull it out. I really think that Biden's gonna end up doing it. And I think another big tenet I forgot to bring up of this is that a lot of people, rightfully so, a lot of people are mad at Trump for fucking up the United States response to COVID. And it's not exactly unfounded. It's a very impossible task to handle that as a president, but there was just so many things he dropped the ball on. And people are so hooked on that. That's what I think. That's what I think, because we're still in this, right? We're still locked down. And so
We're
this-
locked down, but with restrictions.
Just remember, it's all go away tomorrow. Okay.
They will come up with the vaccine tomorrow, or it'll all just get.
What I want to
instantly
know
worse.
is, I want to know why we're not pumping literally all of our COVID funds into when the fuck he'll Trump. No, seriously, he's an
It's the
he's-
FDA. It's the FDA. The
So-
FT and the FDA has to approve it.
Excuse
They
me.
don't gotta approve it for the president, but I guarantee it's just
Well, but
or
Trump-
regulation
Trump-
or whatever.
He signed that bill that there's the right to try.
Yeah, that is true.
Make that expanded like no other into COVID,
Okay, so hear
and
me out.
fucking try.
Hear me out. It's gonna be kind of crazy. Look. Is it more liberal or conservatives that support Trump?
Wait, what?
So
Answer the
okay,
question. Answer the question.
We say it again.
Do more liberals or conservatives support Trump?
Conservatives.
conservatives.
What the fuck?
And most conservatives are Christians, right? You would say.
What are
no,
you
I wouldn't say that at all.
with this?
No, I think more Christians are definitely liberals, 100%.
Well, no,
No.
I disagree with you, because
There's
liberals tend, on a large scale, they tend to approve abortion. Most Christian demographics do not.
But with Catholicism and the new pope's very left leaning, and whatever the pope says, people immediately follow.
Okay.
And honestly, I think it's demographic too. It really is. I mean, you're gonna find some Christians in the South that are gonna be liberals. No, of course not. But you find a bunch of Christians that are in Midwest, West. I think a lot of.
But there
of
are,
liberals.
I will say-
I mean, everybody that I really know that would identify to be as Christian are definitely all liberals.
So
All
in
I
essence,
was trying to say was maybe they prayed the COVID away. Okay.
I thought you were actually trying to do something.
No.
no, but you actually made me think of something. There's a lot of liberals that are moving towards the Republican Party, because conservative and Republican are not mutually exclusive in the
No.
same way that liberal and Democrat are not mutually exclusive. So there are a lot of liberal identifying people that are moving closer to the Republican side
Sure.
because of the Democratic side of this nation citing so far into censorship and cancel culture. And if you are not within these lines of this is what we believe, fuck you, get out of here. So I think that's driving a lot of people away. And the same thing I was saying before we finally went live. One thing I was saying was like, one thing that might end up getting Trump the victory is all of these riots and the violence and the
100%
looting.
gonna do
They're
it.
doing it in the name of the left. So that will drive a lot of left people, if anything, drive them to the middle. But then you get the conversation of voting libertarian, voting third party doesn't matter. We don't want to do that.
Right.
So then they vote.
What do you think about
Trump.
like the people that are siding with Trump very lately, that are very big in the public eye?
Like who?
like
Oh,
50 Cent, like Little Wayne.
Yeah, Lil Pump.
Little Wayne, 50 Cent, the
Oh,
Boys.
I think that's interesting
Like,
because
are they
Trump.
normalizing it being okay to like Trump?
So I think it should be normalized to support the president of the United States,
Of course, but it's not.
but it's not, which sucks. And I think that's what we need to get back on board with. I think the reason why they did that is because Trump, what kind of pushed them over, was that Trump signed that bill for what, like $500 million or
Oh, the
$500 billion
platinum
to help out the predominantly black colleges.
But yeah, the platinum plan.
Is that what it was called?
It wasn't for black colleges. It was just for black community in general.
Black communities. I thought it was black
He
colleges.
did,
It was for housing.
I
It
think
was
like $100
for.
million in the beginning of his presidency that went straight to HBCUs, but this one was strictly for inner city communities.
Okay, so that's where I think is pushing a lot of people over. But if we're gonna talk strictly celebrity, there are obviously so many more celebrities that are going for Biden.
Right. But what I'm saying is, for the people that, like, kind of like the closet Trump supporters that aren't going to vote Trump because their friends don't or their parents don't or whoever, but you have these people that come out that are huge in the public eye and huge figures, like they kind of normalize it to be okay, so they feel better about doing it.
And so
No,
it's
let's
just
just say,
like,
let's just say, if you go out and say you support Trump, we're not using the loosely worded word racist. You're racist.
Yeah.
If you go, hey, I support Trump.
And that's what people are afraid of,
first
so they
word
just won't
people
do
go
it.
to is
Yeah.
you're racist.
It's not worth it to them to
And
lose
how-
friends,
you can't-
family, whatever.
You can't disprove that.
and what's also what's
I-
interesting though is these people like so 50 Cent, Lil Wayne, they come out and they say we're pro-Trump and they get demonized on social media. So what any
Ice Cube, they gave it to Ice Cube.
and Ice Cube. So any people that are doing that, they're getting fucking shot down.
But for the other people that are just like, yo, Ice Cube said this was cool, he's normalizing it. Well, how could this dude be a racist? You know, this is NWA, and they normalize it a little bit more to where these people would be like, okay, well, maybe it is okay to vote for the guy I actually want to vote for.
Did you just say Ice Cube was NWA?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, let's say he wasn't in the NWA.
You confused the crap out of me.
Wait, yeah, hang on.
Yeah.
No, because it sounded like for a second to me that you said 50 Cent, and I was going to criticize.
Oh, I was like, you made me double think.
Yeah, I was like,
I meant
whoa,
Ice Cube. That is
Yo,
NWA.
we got 6 viewers.
I said people.
We got 6 viewers, bro.
Shout out to Evan, because I know you texted me just now and you're watching.
Is he watching?
Love you, Evan.
Yeah, he's watching.
Good.
Of course he is.
I still got that.
Bro, I didn't study for this.
Yo, can I cheat off you?
Do you not remember us in geometry class in high school? Like we would get hundreds on our homework just so we could fail the test and make it right above the 60.
Yeah.
Well, and like me and David were talking about the other day, is this country is pretty much very little of the population is extremists, like those hard-leaning liberals or those hard-leaning conservatives that are commonly portrayed in the news or whatever. It's only portraying so many people. You see a riot break out and it's 10,000 people. That 10,000 people out of a 5 million.
Yeah, no, it's not
population.
huge for sure. But it depends what you mean as like radical. Like the people that are like, oh, you support Trump? I never want to talk to you ever again, even though we've known each other for 4 years. I guess it kind of just depends what you mean by how radical.
Well, it's like what I brought up with Noah, like we did the first one. It's identity politics. It's like whatever party you side with, everyone's just, oh, I fucking hate you because you support Biden. I fucking hate you because you support Trump. Like, it's dumb.
Do you think Trump supporters hate people that support Biden?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's thrown out there though.
I'm sure there's some. How could there not be? But I think majority of Republicans are like, no, I liked Hillary. I voted for her. Like, yeah, that's cool.
But it's
Thanks
not
for
about,
voting.
It's not about like right now like how many people like are doing it. It's who's yelling the loudest. And who's yelling the
Yeah,
loudest.
squeaky wheel gets the grease.
The radical left, Jesus, and the radical right are yelling the loudest. And they're using social media as a platform to do it. It's terrible.
And that's where I was getting at is where we see only such a fraction of each side. We're getting the loud voices on one side, and then you're seeing these loud voices on the other. Like for instance, some podunk town in God knows where that's been screaming Trump at the top of their lungs, yet they've had their own problems the entire time, and everybody's like, that's what a Trump supporter is. But then you see riot and looting, and you're like, that's what a Biden supporter is. But meanwhile, if you just go up north to Santa Fe, somebody's like, yeah, I like Biden and Harris. But then their next door neighbor's like, I kind of like Trump. And they can lay out the reasons why. The same thing with Biden and Harris.
That's the way it's
They
supposed to work.
They can lay out the reasons why. And we're stuck in in a media kind of like stalemate where it's show the worst of either side in order to pull, and then you have the moderates on the middle that are like, what the heck?
Trump has just won Utah.
Oh, look at that.
Is Florida still coming in, or did they close that yet?
No, I don't. Yeah, this will come in.
Who, look how
Florida's
close
usually the
North
last
Carolina
one.
is.
North
That
Carolina,
is
48
insane
9
close.
Biden, 49
With
9.
93% in.
So, and you're right. See, you're right. The media is the worst thing in this fucking country.
Oh,
right now.
100%.
Say what you want about horrible cops and the rioters and the looters and all that. Say what
They're
the fuck you want
antagonists.
about them, but the worst is the media. And here's my theory on it. And we talked about this a little bit on our episode. So, I still believe that there are more good than bad cops, right? But what happens is, so let's take for instance the big one from this year, the murder of George Floyd.
Mhm.
Everyone agrees that shouldn't have happened, right? But what happens is, so incidents like that are not like, now I was not in that world, but I still believe they are not every day. But what happens is the murder of George Floyd goes down, and okay, that George Floyd got killed once, but that video gets 8 million views. It's on your phone all the time.
And he gets killed over
That
and over
kill,
and over.
he got killed 8 million times.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That didn't get ingrained in everybody's brain. Now that doesn't demean or lesser the murder that happened at all. What I'm saying is like that just makes it 100 times
Yeah.
worse.
It just sparks an emotion that many times over and
Exactly. And yeah, the media is definitely the worst part of it. And so, but there are peaceful protests that happen in this country. We had one in Albuquerque when it started kicking off, right? And we've had a few others. But like, the peaceful protests, they happen all the time, but peaceful protests
Don't get
does not-
coverage.
They don't get coverage.
over.
They
Why
don't
would
get
they?
ratings.
That's boring.
People setting shit on fire is what gets fucking ratings.
Hate means change. What are you going to hear? 30 million people being quiet, people protesting, or 5 million people fucking
And the only
screaming,
exception-
looting, and burning shit down?
The only exception to
That's
that
why I wanted you to watch The Boys, because they brought shit.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
brought that up.
And the exception to that rule, I think, is back in March or April. There was that stand-in where a bunch of dudes showed up in kit with their rifles, and they just stood in the Capitol. They just fucking showed up.
Yeah. And then that's when everybody was like, well, why did they getting
That
shot?
was in
Why aren't they
DC.
getting detained?
Yeah.
It's like, we weren't
They
doing
were just
anything.
fucking standing
They were
there.
literally standing there. Like,
Well,
and even they even had stickers that would get stuck on the sidewalk, and guys would go back through with their knives and stuff, picking up the stickers to make sure they didn't leave anything else behind. Like, that's how you do it. But
Well,
they
and
got
it's
barely
like
got
that-
hurt because of that.
It's like that protest. I think it was Michigan or Wisconsin. Or
We got
something.
9 viewers. Sorry.
Dear
It was about it was a 2A protest. They all stepped, yeah, those same guys, all outside of the Capitol, and you wonder why that goes on. But there's a difference between standing there and being calm and like what we saw in Portland. I'm not saying either side is right or wrong. What I'm saying is there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it, and we've seen how it gets done wrong. Because even what we've seen from the right is there's a bad way to protest certain things. I mean, you look at the majority of things that like happened during the Obama administration. Some things were very like questionable when you draw the line.
Trump Woods, Arkansas.
Yep, Trump took Arkansas. Continue.
But we've seen the right and wrong from both sides, and it's just a matter of reaching that peaceful middle
Biden won
ground.
Colorado.
Well, there we go. But it's a matter of reaching that essence of peaceful protest.
Yeah.
Of truly being there to protest what you're against or for or whatever, but in a peaceful manner. When you start breaking crap and then you wonder why DHS or anybody's showing up, you've done it for a reason.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, too, and this is a very controversial statement for the Republican side of things. I don't condone the violence. I don't condone the looting. I don't condone the burning down of any establishment, whether it's a corporate or a local business. But I get it. Because from their point of view, it's, you know what?
We'll make noise.
We'll make noise, but the reason why is because the people, the police, the people who have literally sworn to protect us, like I said, George Floyd got killed 8 million times, right? These people who have sworn to protect us, these people who have said, I will ensure that even the criminals get due process and justice, right? These people have now turned their backs on us, so they have now broken the idea of that social contract. So fuck you guys. Now, is the right idea to burn down a fucking Target? No. Because Target doesn't care about you. No, seriously, like, and a good point was
These
brought
trying
up.
times, big corporation is here for you.
So Joe Rogan had a real, I forget the gentleman's name, but he had a guest on that's a fan of Dan Crenshaw, who's running for Congress in Texas. And he brings up a really good point. And he goes, look, these people in the poor communities, if they go down and they start burning down these buildings, they start rioting and looting, when it comes time for the governors, the mayors, the chief of police, the city planners, and they all come together and they're like, okay, where are we going to put our budget? They're not going to put their budget in a place that keeps getting all messed up. Well, so now these people who think they're doing the right thing by protesting violently, they are now screwing over these communities for generations.
And it's not even their communities; they come into them.
Exactly.
And that's
these,
the thing. Is like, are you going to bring any corporation into these places? Like, why would they
they're
want
not
to
going
invest
to.
in you? When
By
they invest
this-
in you, you get jobs.
Yeah.
You get jobs, you make money.
And
you
they're
get
gonna-
money, you
and
come
they're
out of
losing that
poverty.
now.
But they're not going to come and bring jobs to you if you keep bringing
Yeah,
your
so
shit down.
doing that, just doing that is stabbing yourself or shooting yourself in the foot. But they don't realize that in the moment, and I don't think they will realize that unless someone sits them down and says,
Yeah.
"Look what you're doing."
But how many people think they use it as an excuse?
Oh, it's definitely an excuse.
I mean, I've seen interviews where people are like, "Who got killed? What was his name? Well, I don't know. I don't care." They just used it as an excuse. They saw anarchy. They're like, "Oh, I can go give me some free shit," and they used it.
Oh, it's like the same thing with who was it? Jake Paul in Arizona.
Yeah, like that motherfucker didn't look
Just
shit.
using that as an excuse to go and break shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, like,
How much money do you have for doing? I'm sorry, for getting my life. I get that. But what does he do? He creates YouTube videos that really have no substance. What does he do? He hangs out. He's managed to hang out with famous people. Hangs out with porn stars. He has a weird best friend that's like 6 foot something, and they don't do anything. But they've garnered all this attention now, so it's like, fuck it. You know? Like, that dude's an idiot for fucking. I mean, they're all idiots for rioting and looting, but like, bro.
and I'm still a firm believer of this, and I will be until the day I die.
Trump took South Dakota.
Is the people have every power to incite change, but it's how you do. If you go burning and looting and doing all of this shit, they're just gonna do enough to shut you up.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing when we look at everything that happened in was it Minnesota?
The Kyle.
No.
Thing?
That was Wisconsin. The police department that shut down and didn't.
Ohio. No, Oregon.
No.
Right?
No. I think it was Minnesota.
Well, I know for a fact they did it in LA. Where they were just like, let them burn, literally let them burn themselves out.
But
Yeah.
That was LA.
I mean, let's use that as an example. The local government, local municipalities basically just use that as an excuse to let these people tire themselves out. They're gonna, because in the end it's gonna become either profitable or not for the city or the state because they're gonna get put in the judicial system. They're gonna be the ones going to jail, they're going to prison, whatever, for what they do. And at the end, we kind of realize that they're just doing enough to shut us up with a temporary need.
Oh shoot, we got a live check.
Yeah, that's
I'm
all
gonna
good.
go check. No, dude, you checking your phone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're
I
doing
wanted to. Oh, sorry.
they're doing just enough to shut us up for the meantime, or shut up the people that are angry. Which
It's Evan and Trent talking to each other, and then Coleman came in.
But they're basically just doing enough to shut the masses up for the temporary amount of time that it takes just to get through this. But at the end of the day, what change is really going to be in fun? What are we going to see?
Don't forget you tomorrow.
To you, I mean, to any party, any politician, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all of them, they're just a name.
Yeah.
They're just a
Exactly.
name and means to an end. Because if you do whatever, like for instance, let's say in the case of Breonna Taylor, you solve no knock warrants and do all this, blah blah blah, X, Y, and Z, you follow through on all of that. All that means is for now,
Yeah.
police aren't doing that. But come the next election or come midterms, come whatever, a new bill's gonna be passed because an incident's gonna happen or something is gonna get passed, it's gonna go through, and we're just gonna revert back to the same old
Stick.
thing.
And
But you
we'll
wanna know what's
really.
weird? Sorry.
Okay.
But you wanna know what's weird? Here, that light shut off. But and that's that's another thing too. Like once all the riots finally started dying down from Breonna Taylor and from George Floyd, once they finally started dying down, that's when George Floyd's autopsy finally came out. Months later. That's when the full investigation got completed, at least the public knowledge for Breonna Taylor. It was months later. After all the rioting and everything was gone. And I don't know, I thought that was it's kind of weird that they, like, it was that long. They waited until everything's gone, like, oh, okay, here's the real story. It's like, I think you want to get that out as soon as possible.
There's two things that have to do with that. One of those is the police departments themselves choosing on when to release said information. They have to analyze, make sure nothing's wrong or incriminating or whatever. But the one thing that's very interesting to see with all of that is how quick our population is to jump on something. And you would think said forces in question would be even faster to react. Like, for instance, the boys, how quick something can go to shit, and then they gotta get prepped by legal, they gotta do this before anything's released.
For you to make a statement.
Yeah, before anything can come out, how fast something has to be done by all of their legal teams before anybody can come out, yet the public is already outraged. And it's merely just a matter as to how long they can drag it out one way or the other, or if the department's like, hold on, wait, we got this. But the big issue that comes from that is humans are reactive in nature. You punch me in the face, I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face. You go and kick me in the knee, I'm gonna try to kick you in the knee with my other leg.
Right.
Oh, so you guys COVID. Someone just took that seriously.
But no matter what, it's just a matter merely as to where we're at. And the powers that be just aren't as reactive as the people that they govern. And in turn, that's what we're seeing. We're just seeing an active human nature and aggression.
And so you're right. The people that govern aren't as reactive, but the problem is so let's take the first wave stimulus checks that we got, right? The package that came forward with that, I mean, Ted Cruz, he went on that whole spiel about it, about how he was like, why is it that we're trying to help out the American people by giving them a stimulus check and trying to pump all this money to find out how to fix COVID? We're trying to find out how to fix COVID at that point, right? How to just tackle it in the beginning. It's like, okay, why is it that we're trying to do all of this, but people like Nancy Pelosi are trying to put in all these different carbon changes and airplane filters?
Because they want theirs.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
that's the problem. And in my opinion, is a problem of selfishness, but that's just a human trait that will never go away. And it's really easy for people like us who are at the bottom, who don't have that position of power, who don't have that much money coming in on them, say, hey, you guys need to stop being assholes, you guys need to start helping us, but then once you get up there, you hit a certain financial point, you hit a certain point of power, you're like, you know what, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep me here, because I love the life that I live, I love what I do, and I think a big
Term limits.
Exactly. A big way to end that is term limits. But the reason why term limits
Because they have to vote on themselves.
exactly is they're voting themselves out of a job. And that's not gonna happen anytime soon. And then if you want to take it a little further, you get the problem of, okay, so this senator makes ballpark $225,000 a year. Why in the world is their net worth in the millions?
Appearances, speeches, books,
Exactly.
deals.
But then you're exactly, so you're also assuming through all the legal routes and all the non-fishy.
Yeah, they hook all their family up.
Yep.
And the family back feeds it to them. That's exactly what Joe Biden did with Hunter Biden. It's sort of pretty proven.
Not to be an asshole, but to state fact, how it's not funny to be hooked on a very serious drug. I'm gonna pat out by saying that. But this fucking crackhead. This crackhead, because this is what I read and what I heard.
Oh, don't worry,
right?
clean
Is
now.
the reason why they found out about all those fucking files and those documents because the idiot broke his laptop, took it to a laptop store in Delaware,
And left
forgot
it
it.
there for like 3 months.
Forgot it for like 3 months, and the poor laptop owner or laptop shop owner's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna go through it, format it. I find these fucking documents. He goes like, there is fucking human trafficking, child rape, there is slavery on this thing. Take
All
the
the emails
FBI,
with,
take the
Crane.
FBI. Yeah, and then all the crooked people in the FBI and the CIA, they go back to the. I would have loved to hear that conversation. They go back to the Biden family, like, hey, your fucking crackhead son just blew the whole thing. You blew this whole operation because the idiot didn't make an appointment 3 months ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, anyone
That's
else
no-
seen what Joey's doing at the table?
Dude, you have an ashtray. Where did it go?
It's literally right in front of
That
you.
is your ashtray. Oh my word. The little Buddha is your ashtray.
Notice how we all have one?
Oh. And we're leading our cigar. I said it from the beginning. I said it. We keep here.
I wasn't listening.
He's honest. Jesus.
Bro,
Yes.
how have you
Screw it
got
all
to where
together.
you are in life?
Very carefully.
God, I hate
Like
you.
I'm very careful.
He just hasn't killed himself yet. by accident.
These ashes into this.
Okay.
You know what bugs me is I've tried almost every step of the damn way, and this retard can't get that. Like,
Dude, it was like right next to the pile that you just made on the table.
I keep getting cinnamon toast bars.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Just trying to use those words.
oh
Gotcha.
yeah, fucker.
I
Leave me alone, dude.
just want to ask you, you see that Chelsea Handler statement she made to 50 Cent?
Oh yeah,
She's like, I had to go and I had to remind him that he was black, so he can't vote for Trump. And it's like, how did she get away with that?
Wait, I'm sorry. Fill me in. What?
Chelsea Handler, I don't exactly
Who
know.
is that?
I don't know exactly what she does. I think she's an actor of some sort, or she's in the community of some sort like that.
You're Jamie right now.
Thank you.
But no, she went on to some stream and she was like basically she had an interview. She's like, yeah, I had to go call it 50 Cent, and she's a white chick. I mean, as white as you could picture. Yeah.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, I had to go remind him that he can't vote for Donald Trump because he's black, and that other black people feel oppressed by Trump. So I had to remind him of that. And then I was like, how did she get away with that? How did she get away with that? See, that's how she got away with it. And it's like,
Trump wins Indiana and Kentucky.
And Texas leaning
Oh.
red, which
It was new to me.
I-
That's a surprise.
no, it's not a surprise at all. But I really did think there'd be a bigger. I'm gonna look at the polling report, like the map, because I'll bet you anything that, like I said, Dallas, San Antonio,
Oh,
and
I'm sure.
Austin
Austin
are all blue.
especially.
Are all blue.
Chelsea Handler is an American comedian, actress, and writer and television show host. And she hosted a late night talk show on E! Network.
that's what it was, yes.
Oh yeah.
So like, how did she get away with that?
Yeah, so Austin, San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas are all incredibly blue, but like again, the surrounding rest of
Yeah, it's
Texas
definitely-
is redder than ginger. So
Yeah, they're just, I think it's gonna end up looking red. I don't think you're gonna get your Texas blue.
I think Texas will eventually.
Maybe one day. It depends. It all depends. on the candidate.
I think he will.
Either that,
Give it 3 elections, and they will be.
if it does and it goes one election, I guarantee you it'll go immediately red as fast as possible. You can't right after that.
Oh yeah, it'll be a quick revert.
So I think that'll bring up the interesting topic of red versus blue consistently switching. Like how we've seen in the past
So
where
red versus red and blue doesn't switch. The label of conservative or liberal switches.
well, and that's what I'm getting at, is like how we've seen have you ever heard the term backwoods Southern Democrat?
Yes, I don't know what it means.
It's basically a gun-toting liberal or a
That
gun-toting
enjoy their slaves.
Yeah, a gun-toting Democrat that enjoyed their slaves, chilling out. When you see some dude with 3 teeth and a meth lab in a trailer park south of the Mason-Dixon line, that historically almost 60, 70 years ago would have been a Democrat.
Right.
Or would have
Right.
voted Democrat
Yes,
for
right.
that sense.
Democrat for the white man.
So,
No, yeah. No, historically he's correct. Yeah.
and what I was talking with one of my coworkers the other day is this election is going to bring a very interesting part in political history where we're almost probably going to see a huge political change based not right now but within the next 20 years as to who is where and who's what.
So we were actually going through a liberal conservative switch And then, like everything else about our life, COVID changed it. Do you know how to light a cigarette or a cigar?
I'm doing it to relight and I shut it off once.
So you light your match, hold it, and puff.
Really?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes.
I wonder, I thought I got it lit the first time.
What? That's why I put mine down. I'm almost more than halfway done with mine.
There you go. Smoke that.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it. But we're with the current state of everything, the riots, COVID, all of
Yeah,
that.
that's fine for sure.
We've experienced almost a state where everything has changed for the lesser part, delayed.
I'm listening.
Where everything is just delayed as to what we're gonna see happen.
You can't even pay attention to this on podcast.
I know, right?
I'm listening. I'm just checking live.
You make us bring the booze, we bring the pizza.
Dude, I had to buy it and bring
Hey,
my
yo,
own chair.
Lee is watching. Lee is watching.
Is Lee really watching?
Yeah.
Hi, Lee. Love you, buddy.
What's up, Lee?
It's not a joke. I had to go to Target and buy a folding chair and then bring it here. Because
Yes.
he's the worst
yeah,
host.
Next week, all my guests will, yeah. So, Only King is not a misogynistic venture. I just want to throw that one out there. Because apparently someone thinks it is. I'm not going to call out your handle because I have respect. But, yeah, so just a side note here. Only Kings is not a misogynistic venture. I just think it's funny to make fun of e-thoughts. But that being said, next week I have next week I have 3 guests coming on. We're filming, they're all women, A. B, one of them is a sex worker where her main form of revenue is OnlyFans because I would absolutely be remiss not get that point of view. So this individual, sorry, but you're wrong.
Is it the one that I referred you to?
No.
It's the girl I'm saying is her friend.
Her roommate.
Well, if her roommate is watching, then okay. So if you're
They're
watching,
both watching.
roommate of whoever, it's not misogynistic. Okay, stop.
Oh,
Goodness. So Coleman, this is literally my last 5 brain cells fighting for life in a political twist. Coleman, if you're watching, I miss you, buddy.
I love you. Love you. Let's go. Alaska.
Oh, jeez. But no, like, so we were talking a little earlier about Breonna Taylor, and Breonna Taylor, her whole incident that happened with that.
That's a fair point.
You should have a woman there now. Well,
We don't know any women.
Women don't like us. We are not attractive enough.
Dude,
We don't like women.
Do we look like men that women are actually attracted to?
the point is, so Breonna Taylor. So when that all came out, it was people, no knocking. They shot Breonna Taylor, killed her without any remiss, and it was a wrongful killing. I still believe it was for everything that I read. But the problem with the media and the problem with people who very solely align themselves with their party, right? So what mostly came
He's about to kill himself.
Dude, I almost let my eyebrows on fire.
Not your eyebrow.
to reel that one back in. So mostly what I saw coming from the right was, well, now that we have all this backstory on her, she was involved with this drug trafficking and her and her boyfriend had some operations set up.
It was the right house. It was the right
Exactly.
car.
So whether
She
or
wasn't
not
laying in a bed.
So right,
She was in the alcohol.
whether or not that's true, whether or not they were criminals deserve due process.
Of course.
That is not something that should ever change, no matter what country you're in, no matter what patch of dirt you find yourself on. And the problem with that incident, or as much as I have read about it, is that she was unjustly murdered.
I mean,
And
she.
that's the problem with it.
No, yeah, but I mean, she definitely went and, caught rounds that were not intended for either of those two.
So regardless of and the same thing was with George Floyd, right? The argument, well, he died because
Fentanyl.
because of fentanyl and methamphetamines in the
COVID.
system and all these things, and he already had recent conditions. Yes, you know what? He might have had all these health problems. He might have had these chemicals into the system. However, no one deserves to have their neck kneeled on for almost 9 minutes.
Yeah, even if I did or didn't, it'd be the thing that actually
Nobody
killed them.
deserves that.
Yeah.
Now there's a small pocket of people that are just evil, disgusting, that should be fucking killed.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. But he did not deserve to have his life taken in that manner.
Especially he was already handcuffed and everything.
Yes,
he
and
was fighting. He was
That the police
what
officer
expect.
did it. I'm pretty sure his hands in his pockets while it was happening.
Yeah.
And then
Fuck.
the 3 police officers surrounding him watched it happen and even maneuvered themselves to try to block people from watching.
So what happens if?
And so what happened?
No, right before it switched.
Is that current? When
No, no, that's
No,
it's
it's
If that was current, Biden would be president.
No, not that. Bottom right.
Yeah, that's current.
Okay, yeah. So current Biden 168, Trump 86.
So
Yeah, we just do California, New York,
So yeah, right there.
So and then so we kind of bring up the what happens, right? The what if. So I think that if Trump loses, if you told me this a year ago, I was a crock of shit. But if Trump ends up winning, I think he is not going to concede. And he's going to take the Supreme Court. Now that hasn't happened since I think it was the Bush.
If he loses,
Yes, he loses. It was the Bush Gore run where it went to the Supreme Court. I think he's not gonna accept it. The Supreme Court is gonna fight it there. Now, if the Supreme Court rules that it is unfair, because they are Republican right now, if they rule that it is unfair and that it is whatever, I don't know what happens after that. I'm gonna go to a recon maybe, or it's gonna be but what I do know is that if we go past the date of inauguration without a president elected, Pelosi, she is the president by law, and that's a problem.
So no, real
Yo,
quick,
say
one of
something
our-
right now.
Yeah, no, that's law.
No, real quick, one of our viewers actually wants to know if you're gay. It says it's the dude in the middle gay, and then
Who is that?
our buddy in Alaska
Coleman.
says it's the glasses. So
Yeah, is
then,
it Coleman?
No, read the chat, dummy.
Oh, it's hi Ross. And no, I'm not.
Very,
It's my super
very
love
He's
easy.
actually a well-known homosexual,
Oh.
and that's why. Let me tell you, that's why this time he decided to vote blue because he's a well-known homosexual and he wanted to vote for his rights.
Oh.
So bring that question up to this.
See, that's what sucks too. And you know, that brings me to the point: is everyone labels Donald Trump as somebody that hates homosexuals.
yeah, he was the only president in U.S. history to endorse LGBTQ rights while he was on the campaign trail.
He says hi, by the way.
Right. Well, on the campaign trail, I don't know if that's true or not. Personally, I don't know if that's true. Now, yes,
It's true.
has he gone on record? But he's gone on record saying,
He doesn't give a shit.
that he disapproves of gay marriage.
Oh yeah, of course.
He has said that.
Yeah, he said.
But he's also multiple times said on record that he supports the rights of the LGBTQ community to involve the transgenders and any other group that would fall into that. All the other letters
He
represent.
says it just needs to be left up to the states. Same thing with what the stance on marijuana is.
Marijuana. I'm not gonna get right, buddy. What's marijuana?
No, I'm saying it's the same.
Oh, same
The
thing.
same thing that he thinks on marijuana is the same thing he thinks on gay rights.
What's
Let your state decide.
What is this? What is that?
I think, it blows my mind that weed's still illegal.
Yeah, he is. Oh, I know.
I don't get that.
It's all a matter about what's profitable at that point.
100%.
And what's
Colorado
profitable?
pull like $1 billion out of their tax revenue the first year?
Yeah, but for the majority of states.
Can you look that up?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It was either $1 million or $1 billion of revenue they pull from their taxes.
Oh,
For the majority of states, they pull more money from throwing people in jail for extended. Do you know how much it costs to keep somebody in jail?
No, yeah, exactly. So
That's
that's when you get,
$37 a day.
that's when you get into the problem for profit prisons. That needs to get abolished right now.
Yeah, that needs to get absolutely just ripped out.
No, dude, charger.
Oh, the charger?
Yeah, it's plugged into our recorder.
I know. I got a charger and now.
And we had a game kit for
We had a
that.
game
Yeah, so we can't.
For-
Yeah,
This
we-
one was Type C.
No, it's micro.
Wow, well, it's almost like you didn't do your research
Yeah,
on buying
so-
a Type C
so-
versus a micro USB.
Yeah, I'm not good at this yet.
You'll
That's
get it.
why we went live 15 minutes. That's what I thought we were live.
Yeah, we're
Right.
We went 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 30 minutes we're supposed to.
So we're
Whoops.
curious, nobody has.
Nobody has it for your Android.
No. I'm sorry we're not poor.
And we use Apple.
Oh wait, hey.
Hang on. He doesn't know.
Android's just as good.
That's like the argument in the early 2000s that Linux is still as good as Windows.
That's like saying Zune versus iPod.
Oh,
Do you
dude.
guys not have a Zoom?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
No. When I was younger, I had a Zoom because I was poor.
Yeah, I
Now
was
that I'm
there for a
making
while.
money, guess who doesn't have a Zoom? This guy.
Does it even still exist?
I
Probably
don't know.
I saw it at the jail the other day.
Somebody said Obama has one.
Obama has a suit.
Apparently.
God bless him.
What?
Oh.
He's the national anthem.
Zoom, the official presidential music player.
Is the fucking suit. Where are we at right now with the election?
There. Trump just took something else because the points went up.
So I wonder, they haven't counted. Am I seeing that right? They haven't counted Florida yet.
Florida hasn't been counted. It looks like Georgia,
my dick pics.
North Carolina.
Florida looks like Trump's gonna take it last time I saw.
If Florida goes to Trump,
They went last.
well, no matter way they go, that'll probably decide the election. And again, I'm not a pollster, I'm not a politicist. I don't know why, but Florida tends to decide the election. And I mean, last I saw it too, yeah, Florida was the one that Florida was going towards Trump.
Yeah, he had a slightly.
Oh, Biden. I mean, not surprising, but Biden stole Jersey.
Should have seen the District of Columbia. I think Trump went up like 6%.
So I just got notified that Trump has completely taken Florida,
Okay.
but they're not showing it on our.
We might be a little bit behind
Our
on this,
app.
you know. And then again, you
Because we're
know,
going off of CBS.
we're going
Right?
off CBS. They probably
Oh,
don't
dude,
want to
hit live.
Yeah, they still don't have Florida.
Cool, we're still live.
Oh, okay. Now we're live before
Also,
so
it's take time.
officially by CBS. Why is she wearing a mask under her nose? Is CBS?
She heard you.
You're saying to your Instagram? Oh, okay.
That's
I really hope I remember what mine was.
I just added an account.
Oh, okay.
I just remember my password.
Is it?
It's Wrangler is done. Little heart next to it. No, that's my.
I was gonna say.
So do you have what map do you have right now?
This one's the Associated Press. It says Joe Biden has 209 electoral votes.
Oh, so
and Donald
CBS
Trump
is
has-
way behind.
Well, I don't know what the fuck's accurate. And it says Donald Trump has 118
Yeah,
electoral
I
votes.
wouldn't trust those maps. Is that one on Google?
Yeah, Google.
Yeah,
for
that's-
But Associated Press, I've heard is good.
Wow, that was a wild guess and a lot of Instagram.
Yeah, they usually,
Hey,
they
Stranger,
usually call it
go on our computer and open another tab for YouTube and pull up Fox. See what they have.
I think I just chipped my tooth more.
Here, watch. I'll just pull it up on my phone.
I did. What do you want? You can just close the window if you want to do that, yeah.
So, okay, so talking local politics, because I can't really see it, but is there any or mask it down again? Is there any universe that we can live in where Grisham gets reelected?
No, not when
Probably
not. Chance.
So where I'm at
I've
currently
seen
is
a
that
little skater.
Joey, you're probably. But where I'm at currently is that the majority of the U.S. is just fed, or not the U.S. The majority of New Mexico is just absolutely fed up with how Grisham has ran this. She's just been, for lack of a better term, she's been piss poor.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really have a whole lot to do with, like, you know,
That's Fox right there.
this is one that I'm
Colvin, I'm being quiet because this Muppet right here didn't give me my own mic.
That's why we give you the
Who's that Muppet now?
mic. Fuck you.
You can do is when one of us isn't talking, you can just run around talking that way.
You can sit on my lap if you
Yeah.
like.
You could use that. I told you you could use that one.
I don't know which one I was supposed to use.
This one.
What if I use both of them at the same time?
You want to ski him? Yeah.
Just both at the same time.
Okay, so he's
am
going
I
up
skating
Fox.
or am I in a gay porn?
Give me both.
Yeah.
He's probably been
And
Yeah. So you think Mark Marquette's gonna win?
Probably.
Has that been announced yet?
Probably. I'm gonna say
Yes.
probably. A lot of people that not as much as Grissom, but a lot of people don't like Wuhan.
Yeah.
So
They're just sick of the name in general.
They're sick of the
like,
name.
What it generates for the state.
yeah, I'll probably say that he wins.
Yeah,
Not by a lot.
Well,
again.
that and just the waste of money that we've done in the past like 2 years. Like the waste of money has just been insane. Like that fucking bus.
Oh,
yeah,
the art
okay.
thing that just keeps
Yeah,
fucking
That just
murdering
keeps
people.
crashing people. Yeah, like. Yeah, he got Florida.
Florida's taken. Texas is up for grabs. There's no way in the world that Mexico's red.
Could you imagine maybe I don't know. Could be
So what?
close.
Okay, so this is going off of theory, obviously, because I'm not smart. Is there? So what states does Trump have to take to win right now?
He needs
He needs
Texas,
Texas,
Ohio, Pennsylvania,
Minnesota, I believe they were saying.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania for
and
sure.
Wisconsin.
I don't know a lot about Pennsylvania in the news. Why?
So Pennsylvania, so Pennsylvania showed up a lot in the news because Joe Biden decided that he was going to openly state on his election campaign that he was going to end fracking in a lot of necessary parts. Now that's very necessary to Pennsylvania's economy.
That's all.
Their industry. That's what they are. And he told the people of Pennsylvania, I'm basically going to take away your jobs because I don't like what you guys do. That's layman's terms, but that's basically what happened. So what we saw overnight in a lot of news articles was Pennsylvania flipped overnight.
Yeah.
They went from being blue
I
to
would
red
too.
real quick.
Shit! You take my job.
I have a question from the audience.
From the
Who wants
audience.
to talk more about how art sucks?
How art sucks.
Art
The bus system.
is the stupidest
Oh, the
thing.
bus system.
Art will always lose this money. We will never regain the money on it, and it is a lost investment that we will have forever. It was the biggest waste of money and put us through a huge amount of debt.
So many small businesses got shut down because of that.
Yeah, exactly. It screwed up their storefronts. It screwed up traffic.
For
It
those of you
screwed
who
up
don't
everything.
most of you do is watching, but art is just like this bus they put in Central, like downtown, like the main road, trying to be like Denver, and it's supposed to just run up and down the street in the middle of the street and not hit anybody.
But have its own lights and its own lanes.
Yeah,
In the
lights,
middle of the
lights
road.
In the middle of the road, on these old Spanish roads we just paved over.
Yeah, no, it was the dumbest idea we ever had, and nobody uses it. Can I have another beer, please?
Yeah. And the art program, what's funny about that is people didn't understand that it was going to be like,
It went way over budget.
one, it went over budget, two, it basically just brought kind of like shelter, for lack of a better term, for homeless people. They hang out and they have emergency phones at all of the stops that flooded our 911 system overnight. When that first got implemented, our local 911 system was riddled with calls from people that were ape shit hammered off the bus, just calling because they were drunk. It's a little bit more fixed now, but that's the huge thing. We've gone into mega debt for
Get in the
something.
rail runner. We'll
Yeah.
never recoup that.
For
So why would you
something
want to make
that
an investment you
runs-
can't recoup?
Yeah, we've gone into mega debt for something that runs a total of like what, 10 miles?
Yeah.
It's because the people make money off of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, literally.
because the powers that be are making money.
So yes, that is what the art project is, and it's horrible. Thanks for
So
asking.
how long did it take for art to go back up during COVID? They got shut down. I know that.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was the only good thing come out of COVID was them shutting that down. You can drive normally. Yeah, I don't know how long it took.
Dude, I missed all this shit. Like I'm still trying to catch up on all like. The events
So how
that
was
happened while I
Africa?
it was shitty, dude. Boring.
But I had a train of thought, but I lost it. Will your computer handle 2 live streaming tabs?
Joey, find
I
out.
don't know, it's on A3. Why start smoking coming out of it?
Oh no, dude, well, they're just doing the local stuff. aren't they?
When is New Mexico supposed to close? I really want to see what's
When-
with Mark
when-
Ronchetti.
I was gonna say, I thought it already
No, New
did.
Mexico closes at 7. Our time.
Someone said 3 years to build and 3 months to shut down. On Joey's things, I'm getting on my watch now.
Dude, that's dope. Technology is amazing.
We're in the future.
Future.
But no, Sorry, what was the question? Sorry.
I want people to get to see.
There was a question?
Yeah, I thought that was a question.
I didn't think there was a question yet. I don't know.
You help their butt.
Let's just go to next
Your
subject.
broke
You have
ass
anything?
mic keeps breaking.
Okay, we're gonna go no.
Alright, that's fine.
It's on its last legs, and they're not very sturdy.
They're more like stilts, if you will.
What I thought was ridiculous was it was good in practice, but how they gave us a stimulus check and then had no way to redo it, back it up. Yeah.
So, like, my big thing with that is initially the stimulus check being presented at $1.8 trillion was feasible.
Yeah.
The chief of the Treasury has said several times that that would have actually given us enough breathing room for a second, possibly third stimulus check had we kept that up. And then it got bumped up to what, $3.4 trillion, so everybody can get theirs. So
Yeah, it got
Pelosi-
bumped up once, I think, to 2.3, and then it went to 3.4.
Yeah, so Pelosi and the rest of Congress can get their money in this time of need. God forbid that bare minimum they're making $174,000 a year.
Yeah,
It's just not enough, dude.
It's not enough, man. It'll never be enough.
And
You know what? I think we should pay them more.
We should pay them more. They work so hard. All those cocktail parties, like,
they need to make
she's
money.
got to go get her hair done again
But
and not get in trouble.
What was
this
it that
time.
Nancy Pelosi? She was like saying, "No, we can't hold it back up. We need whatever."
Yeah,
and then
she
she went into a.
Dude, we're gonna blow out, no mask, no nothing, and then said that she was set up to do it. Same thing happened with the governor of New York.
Man.
He just got.
Ma'am, if you're watching, you can't be set up to have your hair done. Just letting you know that.
But yeah, then he got spotted in a barber shop, no mask, no nothing, getting his hair cut, and he was one of the biggest advocates for shutting down and mask and if you're gonna go out, go in a bio suit and everything like that. And he was all getting his hair cut with no mask.
But that stimulus check of giving each American above the age of 18, anybody that is acceptable for, or accepting of it, $1,200. In reality, that only lasts a month. Despite those people that are actually in work and the
If that.
Here's
Yeah.
your money. Stop complaining.
Yeah.
And
then there's the
follow
follow-up.
When did we get that stimulus check? Like May or some crap?
So earlier.
Was
it earlier?
I thought it was kind of late.
Dude, I don't know.
Hey,
Anyways.
hey, here's $1,200 for this 2-week quarantine, all right?
Yeah.
No, pretty
2
much.
weeks, that's it.
Well, yeah, that would have made sense. But
And then now their solution was, okay, we're gonna give them a tax break, but then we'll give them a tax break for October, November, December, but January, February, March, we're gonna pay that back to the government.
And
It's a
that-
forced loan. Why?
And that's my big thing is they're giving us this stimulus, and then there was talks of another stimulus. But come tax season, we're all the American people, like as grateful as we were to the powers that be. Oh, thank you for my stimulus check. at the end of this, we have to pay that back.
Yeah.
Because
So we're all
God
paying that
forbid
stimulus.
the people we elected to help us, they're like, hey, we helped you, but like, can you please give it back? Oh wait, not please. You're gonna give it back. We're forced into this,
it's okay. We can set you up on a payment plan.
or if not, we go to jail.
Wait, so we are paying back stimulus checks.
I don't think the first one. I mean, I think if another one comes down the pipe.
Then we're not gonna get one.
There's some talks that the first stimulus check that we got paid, we might have to pay back. There was a couple of my buddies.
Might have a couple months.
A couple of my buddies who were in the military, they got a huge tax break on a lot of their shit. They, throughout their month, they got like an extra $500, and all of their leadership was telling them to not spend that money, because at the end of the day, when all of this was over, finance was going to come find their asses and collect that money. Sorry,
Not really, but.
finance was going to come back and get the money that they gave them, their money to help them. When you look at it, it's basically like, oh hey, we're giving you this extra money to help you in your time of need, but when you're no longer in need, we're gonna want that money back. Or
Give me the vote.
we're not gonna want that money back. We're gonna demand that money back at whatever you're making
Yeah. No, give me the
times
vote.
X or whatever. We basically just the powers that be are basically just forcing us into this corner where at the end of the day, whatever money they give us to help us, we have to pay back.
Yeah.
We're shit out of luck. We're MC double fucked.
So I want to hear from Dom real quick.
Yeah, Mr.
And
Quiet
as
Mouse.
long as it takes for this answer.
I didn't do my research, man.
What's our way out of COVID?
Holy, you know the hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, fastball, 90 mile per hour. All right.
What's our way out of COVID?
Dude, I don't even know what day it is. So he asking me this. Fuck, dude. If there was an easy answer, someone would have figured this out already. But the way that I've seen it is, I think people are just a little too afraid of everything, and it's like we can only wear masks and do this shit and be in lockdown for so long. Like, we've already seen how on edge everyone's been with the election, and it's just been amped up more with all the fucking the lockdowns, the restrictions, businesses being closed, people being out of work because of, you know, whatever their governor in their state decides, like, oh yeah, your business isn't essential anymore, you know, you're out of a job, sorry, have fun, you know. It's like, it's shitty. I've always been really confident in most people to be able to make their own judgment calls on what they think is best for them and what they think is safe. Like, if someone wants to wander around without a mask, knowing everything that we know now, then fine, more power to you. Like, go ahead, I don't really give a fuck, I'm gonna do my own thing. Like, I'm gonna wear a mask for the sake of just because whether you believe whatever statistics it is, if it's effective, it's not, whatever, since there's so many different research out there. I'm gonna do my thing, you do yours, and I, again, really confident in the individual person's ability to judge what's best for them. That's my kind of thought process when it comes to everything, whether it be COVID, government, whatever. I think that for the most part, when people are left to their own devices, they'll do what's best for them, and then in turn will end up doing something that's maybe not necessarily the best for like a group as a whole, but what's best for at least their group overall. Not necessarily saying that they'll fuck other people over, but like, you can handle your own shit. Like, if we were all left to our own devices, we would be able to handle our own shit and not have to rely on the government for whatever it may be, you know, even if we struggle with it.
No, I agree with you, and I think the bigger problem too is that now that the government has seen how much power they can just take,
Yeah, that's what's scary. They know
They're
they
not
can do
gonna
now,
give
get
it
away with
back.
in the name of protection.
they're not going to.
We've heard that one before.
No, yeah, this is another Patriot Act. Like, they're not going to give it back, but the only problem now is we don't have a Snowden. We don't have somebody to call them out, and we all see what's going on. We all very clearly see, and. Yeah, I
like,
mean,
what do we have to do to be able to just tell people that we put there, being like, we're done with this. Can you let me go back to work? Can you let me, go back to this? Like, are we even able to even do that anymore? Or we just have to be like, whatever you want, master. We'll wait until you say it's okay.
I think it's just a matter of when see and so my example, I guess, would be thank you.
Yeah.
I think my example would be the Grisham race that's going to go down next year.
Mm.
Everyone from our state that I've talked to hates Grisham.
Oh, of course, yeah, no, 100%.
Hates her. But if next year she's reelected, like, that's just like on a state level, that just confirms for us how corrupt our government is. You know? Like, and I think that going with that notion, I don't think that they're gonna let this go anytime soon. Regardless if we ever get
No, they're gonna drag it.
Yeah, if we ever get a vaccine, they're going to yank this and just stretch it as far as humanly possible. You know what I mean? Were you gonna say something?
So I was gonna say, one of our viewers did mention that I made a mistake. That military tax break that I was talking about doesn't really screw over the junior enlisted. He did say basically our pay was not taxed, but they're gonna double tax us later. Leadership told them not to spend it. These junior guys didn't get screwed, so they didn't get screwed financially. So basically, part of what I said, but
I just saw that.
elaborating from a different point of view. And also, when Dom, another one of our viewers, did say in Europe they started a second round of lockdowns and riots are starting. Spain, Italy, and others have locked down hard, and they've had more deaths per million and worsening their economy.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that with England, how they decided to shut down again.
Ooh, Arizona just went Biden. So did
Not
Mexico.
surprising.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
I wonder how close New Mexico was.
No,
Probably.
You don't think
check
so?
This.
I don't
Sorry,
think
check this on the COVID thing.
Mhm.
Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine study paused due to unexplained illness and purpose.
Oh my god.
Damn it, dude!
Like, is it
Damn
real?
it!
Of course it's real, but so is the flu, so is the cold. It's real. No one's saying it's not real. But
Bro.
is it as bad to the extent to where
They
we have
straight
to
up-
do this?
We're trying to cure one thing.
And
gave
then-
this poor soul another thing.
Oh my god. Just let the shit be already. Like,
Oh, man.
it's crazy.
At some point, we basically gotta come to the understanding that people need to get sick. And I've talked about this.
Herd immunity.
Not even just herd immunity, because I'm a huge advocate for that, but in America, it does not work. It works in countries like Sweden and
I
whatnot.
don't think herd immunity is the way to go.
Well, it works in countries like Sweden because they're homogenous.
Mhm.
They have technically one group of people. White, blonde-haired dudes that are all descendants of Vikings. Like, that's why it works up there. But for us, we have huge respiratory problems, huge cardiac problems. Obesity is
True.
why people keep
True.
dying in this country.
Yeah.
Diabetes, all of this. That's our huge problem that we're facing. And so herd immunity isn't the way to do it. But severe lockdowns, even the World Health Organization has said that shouldn't be your primary form of.
That was the
Fighting this
solution
virus.
in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah, because everyone was scared shitless. They didn't know what they were up against. That's understandable.
Not-
We thought a lot of
What are we,
people
8
died.
months in?
Sorry, not only did the Johnson & Johnson stop, but AstraZeneca was also stopped because it had serious side effects in their patients as well.
Oh my god. Try to cure it instead of fucking with worse.
We've rushed into a coronavirus vaccine because we're so afraid of it. And
Which we shouldn't.
keep in mind, historically, pandemics, David, like you said, they're about a year and a half,
About a
18
year and a half,
months.
always. Yeah.
No matter what, we're going to
No
experience
matter
this.
whether you have lockdowns, parades, vaccines. I mean, it's just kind of the way it runs. But
you
it's
can
kind of
shut this down to the absolute bare
And all you can do is just gonna keep dragging it longer and longer and longer. But it's still gonna go like that amount of time. No
Well,
matter
and,
what.
and it's like we brought up that Italy experienced a wave of deaths in the beginning of all this,
Yeah.
and they straight up shut the fuck down.
Well, India saw that.
But like
and they
you
were
said-
like, you know what? We're not even gonna chance it.
Yeah, no,
everything's
but like
done.
you said, that type of culture, the grandma, the parents, the kids, everybody lives in one household that's probably a little bit bigger than the studio we're in, too. So it's like, you know, of course you're gonna end up killing your grandma or something. It's
Are we still live?
we're not like that.
Yeah.
Me too.
Do we fucking
What
go
else
off
are
the
we
air
on?
again?
Yeah, they just said that YouTube wasn't loading on their end. But
Oh, that movie says.
I still got it on my mind.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm
We're good.
stupid. But anyways, yeah, generational homes.
Yeah.
have been. But anyways, no matter how hard you shut down, this virus is going to touch everyone. That sounds bad. I'm sorry, but this
it
virus
is.
is going to try to get as many people as it can. That's what viruses do. The object is to
like Scoutmaster Steve.
Put your finger in here.
the object is to affect as many hosts as possible.
Yeah.
And
Whether you have a mask or something else, like cool, that person that just coughed in your face, I'll give you best case scenario. You didn't get it because you were wearing your mask. But that cart you just touched, that he did that 15 seconds before that you just touched and it rubbed your eye. Well, congratulations, you got it now. And so it's like trying to run from it by putting these mask regulations, by putting these, social distancing regulations, and it's like, I really question if they'll do anything.
Well, here's my
Because you're gonna find another way to end up screwing yourself.
Well, here's
by
my thing with
accident.
the mask is like, I'm obviously not in charge of this, but if I was, the first thing I would have said is cover your face. It's a respiratory illness, right? It's not bloodborne. We need to cover our faces.
Right.
Cover your face, and then we just move from there. But then mask became such a partisan thing that, yeah, exactly. So kind of how earlier we were talking about how Trump supporters, on a wide scale, they get subjected to be getting called racist. In that same note, everyone thinks that Trump supporters don't wear masks, right? They hate masks, and it doesn't help that you see these just parades of people in Florida running up and down Target hallways, saying take your mask off, don't wear.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, and that's not, it's not
That
worth
doesn't
it.
help, but
no.
I know Trump supporters that wear masks because they have the common sense to do so.
Or not even common sense, but it's like, does it really hurt me that much? No. Not to have to just care that much. It's
I
like, whatever, I'll
actually
put it on. I don't care.
I talked to my father about this. Him and I both work in the field, and we talked about in the early stages of all this, a mask was violently necessary because, like how you said, it's a respiratory illness.
And so before you continue, the background of your dad, what did he do for a living?
He's a paramedic.
Right.
I'm not gonna go into who he works for.
Right. But his occupation for his life was being a
Paramedic. We talked about a mask being very necessary for limiting spread. It's all about transmission at that point. We've seen how infectious this virus is. We obviously know that.
It grabs you.
When you look at the Diamond Princess, that cruise ship that was infected,
Right.
the infection rates were clearly blistering for all of us to be scared.
Yeah.
For even
I forgot all
World
about that.
Yeah, no,
World Health.
everybody like that and that quick.
Yeah, for World Health and CDC to all go, oh shit.
Yeah.
We look at that, and yeah, that's clear indication as to why we should be curious and cautious of this virus. But that's also early stages where we didn't know how. I've seen multiple entrances on the news where they talk about that we now know how to treat this in hospital. Like, what's the medication? Hydrochloroquine that Trump was all about?
If you catch it early.
If you get in the early stages, hydrochloroquine's the way to go. But in late stages, it's not. You gotta go through RTs and all of that and get it done. But had we had more of a stance on getting all of this handled almost virtually immediately, we theoretically should have been fine. But it's a massive disease outbreak that it has encompassed the entire world. This isn't just an American problem. This is a world problem. And all of us are being infected. You look at the bubonic plague, you look at the influenza outbreak that happened in 1918, you look at
Spanish flu.
you look at even SARS.
SARS, yeah.
You look at the swine flu, bird flu, all of those that we've had massive outbreaks of. The country usually doesn't. Yeah, we don't recover until about almost a year and a half after the initial induction of like, oh shit, this is a pandemic.
Yeah.
And
they do a lot of stuff that we're doing now.
Yeah, and we're ahead in medical sciences. This virus mutates, it does whatever, but that's what viruses do. They mutate. They progress to a point where basically your lab results have to reflect what's happening now, not what's happening in the future, or not what's happening then. It's mutations of viruses. So, like earlier when you talked about Trump handling COVID, it's a hard fucking thing to handle.
Yeah.
Because even Dr. Fauci said in the beginning that masks weren't necessary.
Did you see that thing to where, when during the presidential debates, to where Biden was, using that as you've been handling this like shit and stuff, and then he's like, well, when I shut down, you told me that it was xenophobic and it was too early to do something like that. And so it's like, does the left really think that Trump's handling it bad, or they just be like, oh yeah, the guy's in charge and stuff's shit right now, so it must be his fault?
No,
Even though before they were saying, oh, it's racist to do the things that you're doing and shut down and not allow people to come into the country and.
Okay, so here's my thing on that. I don't think you can blame the president for how he's handling this. I think it comes down to blaming the American people. At the end of the day, you know what's going on. You know how bad
States
it is.
make their own
We
rules.
all saw the virus coming. It was everyone in the media, as shitty as the media is. You could have done something about it, but nobody chose to do
And your state makes the rules. I mean, go look at Florida. Florida doesn't even know it's there.
And we didn't
Put
see
your
it.
hand over my face. Why does it taste like nutsack?
How do you know what nutsack tastes like?
Not a stressy sack.
Like, we
How
already
did you
see,
do that? Oh, it's
we
so
already
gross.
see, even with like all these restrictions in place by the government, people don't listen. People just don't listen. Even when we're out of town, people just don't give a shit.
Well, I think also too.
And how do you blame one single person for that?
No, yeah, you can't. You can blame Trump for policies he may or may not have done, but you can't blame for the individual at all. What a short-term idiot. But like, I think, especially now, I think it boils down to people need to be able to choose. They need to be able to choose how to live their lives. And because now we've seen that the death rate is like globally it's like a 5%, right? It's something like that.
It's
Less than that?
I think so.
Yeah, so it's we need to be able to put people back to
We need a
work.
Jamie over there.
Yeah, we need to be able to put people back to work. We need to be able to people to have their, like I said, it circles around back to having their freedoms again.
And even if you want to put it back to work with regulation, it's like, okay, but still at least put them back to work.
Put them back to work, get
They
money
need
back. And one of the episodes that I shot, the person brought up a really good point about why UBI is so important. And the reason why that universal basic income would be so important now with COVID is, yeah, you can bail out corporations, you could try to pump money back into there, but the best way to get the economy back up and going is you stimulate the people. You put money back into their pockets, and then they will choose, with their money, they then choose what's necessary, right? They will literally give the answers to the government on what you need to bail out on a large scale when it comes to corporations or when it comes to institutions. But if you give people the ability, if you give people a UBI, they will then put money into their own communities,
It's true.
right? Whether it's through auto repairs or home fixes, or even just going out if we ever get movie theaters back.
Sorry, so after a quick glance, it looks like that global average right now is probably like around 2-3%.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just didn't want to
Yeah.
say close to sure.
Yeah. And that's very just.
Oh, I just
just
really
giving
weird
you
on camera.
different countries.
But yeah,
It does
like,
gain 10 pounds.
You need to be able to give people as much freedom as humanly possible, and it's just not what's happening right now. Trump won something because his number jumped up to 148 according to Fox News.
South Carolina, maybe?
No, he's had South
No, he's
Carolina.
at South Carolina.
I don't know what he just took.
No, he hasn't. That's been the same.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
think
okay.
I don't think Trump's gonna win this one.
Okay, so we brought up earlier that not every Trump supporter is a racist, right?
Yes.
Okay, so for the viewers,
Okay.
Trump supporters are racist because the KKK endorses Trump. What is your opinion?
I think it's ignorant.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I think it's very ignorant. It's very ignorant to say, like, like, is it bad that he's getting support from the KKK? Yeah, totally. But even from my own personal life, I know I have a lot of friends that are Trump supporters, and they don't have a racist bone in their body. To generalize and say that every Trump supporter is a racist, to generalize like that in general,
It would be like saying, do you think the Democrats are still racist because they founded they founded the KKK and they're associated with that party? So you could say, oh, if you're a Democrat, you're racist because at one time you were the KKK. It's just like saying the same thing.
or saying
no, of
like
course
saying
not.
that every cop is bad.
Yeah,
Not every police officer is bad. The
I don't know,
majority
and I-
of them are good men and women that want to do the right thing and
I
that
don't-
do the right thing
yeah,
on a daily
no.
basis.
But you could also say, like, is Joe Biden a racist because he still said that he didn't want his children to grow up in a racial jumble, or has he had a change of heart?
Yeah, see, you can pull sound bites all you want.
It's easy to do.
Remember, guys, poor and uneducated kids are just
my
as smart as white kids.
Oh,
All right,
I can't believe
just
The '84 crime bill. It's
I can't believe that he said that. Now, granted, there are a lot of things that Trump said that get me fucking mad. Like back in the Charleston incident when he said there were good people on both sides.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what are you saying?
He just wasn't trying to piss off anybody,
And
and he fucked up.
I believe that the American populace is a lot more centered than the media wants you to believe. And I think that was displayed this election cycle when most people were like, I don't want either one of them.
Yeah. No.
I don't want Trump and I don't want Biden.
right.
And
at the end of the day, there's probably going to be a majority of people who just really don't want Trump, even though they don't agree with Biden.
I think he just wanted
can you
something
do me a
else.
favor, Joey? Look up for me how many electoral college votes Texas has.
And the thing is we look at it almost to a point where, despite not wanting one side or the other, we bring it down to the best of two evils.
But
I'm not
there-
gonna lie, that's what took me in 2016. It was the best of two evils.
See, the reason
It's what you cared the most about, and that they siding most with you, but yeah.
And the reason
No,
why,
for me, it was just best of two evils.
and also the reason why I voted Trump in 2016. He is 38. Okay. So the reason why I voted Trump in 2016 was at least it was something different. I mean, what happens if you get somebody who's not a part of the political game and see what they do? But now that we see that, like I get why people vote Biden. I really do. I understand it. And then saying no, I also understand why people vote Trump. But for me, the shiniest of the two turds is still very, very dark.
It's very much still a piece of shit.
It's still a piece of
Absurd,
shit.
yeah.
So you said how many again? Sorry.
38.
So according to Fox News right now, he's got 166. He has 38. Goes up to 204, which is obviously still trailing behind Biden's 223. Not that I'm rooting for Trump, but because he's losing right now, I'm.
How many does PA have?
Yeah, look at Pennsylvania too.
That's a big one that Trump's probably going to be catching.
Excuse me.
I wish that. Is this just the map they don't have to where they cycle through as far as where they are right now?
Can you make sure we're still live on that? Oh, click live on there.
Still the same.
So the same. Okay.
Is there anybody else that's actually scrolling through to see how many?
I'm gonna look. But the thing is like in 2016 we were faced with Hillary and everything bad that brought. Like we knew everything that Clinton pulled in the beginning and end of his term, and everything her time as Secretary of State, everything that she did, we all saw that as, do we really want that running the country? The majority of the country saw that as like, holy shit. But then we saw like Celebrity Apprentice host Donald Trump coming up, and we're like,
Minnesota was another
holy
big one.
fuck.
How many does that have?
This is really what we're cut down to. Like personally, in this election, yeah, versus Trump, I would have loved to see Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang.
If Andrew Yang was the presidential nominee for Democrats, he would have already won.
I probably.
There's
that's what I was telling
he
you.
would
Is
have
like,
won 3 months ago.
That's what I'm saying.
That-
If Tulsi Gabbard
that's
and
the best
Andrew
the
Yang,
DNC
vice
had.
president and president,
I don't get it.
No, I don't understand. And like, it's mind-boggling to me. Like here's the thing. Like, I understand why. Loving Obama, because hindsight is, no pun intended, but hindsight is 110% 2020 Obama.
Yeah.
People are loving that guy right now, right? So I get why they chose Biden. I totally understand that, but like the rest of the nation was like, I don't know why you idiots. Like they had such a diverse line of people. Like I remember watching the primary debates on the Democratic side and thinking like,
They got some good people.
I'm gonna vote blue this
Hey,
year.
there's an error that just popped.
What does it say?
Can we go offline again?
What does it say? My eyesight sucks.
Error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering.
Experience what?
Buffering.
Okay, that's fine.
It is what it is.
It says open widget. You can open widget.
Let me look into that real quick. I'll go on there and see. I think we were gone for that question.
Okay. Because we were talking about is every Trump supporter racist. I don't know if you were there for that. But, right. But is it because the KKK supports Trump? Is that true?
So because the KKK supports Trump, that means everybody has to be a racist.
No. Wait. But
And see, it's like, for me, that comes down to, okay, well, how do you prove you're not racist?
That's the thing. You shouldn't have to prove that you're not a racist. People should just know you based on your character and based on your acts, whether you are or not a racist. I feel like that's not something you have to prove. Like, well, if you look here at this PowerPoint presentation I just made, this is why I'm not racist. Like, I feel like,
Again, once it's out there, we can't take it back.
yeah.
If I called you a racist, I didn't tell.
And that's the sucky part
I have a
too.
black friend.
Yeah.
I had my token black friend in my group. Like,
And that's one thing I wanted to say too, is I feel like to be called a racist, that's something big. That's something huge. That holds a
I
lot
feel
of
like
weight
it-
behind
It
it.
used to be something big.
That used to have a
It really
bunch
did.
of weight behind
And
it.
now
That
it's
this
very
person is a
loosely
racist,
used.
that's huge. And now it's just used for everything. Well, I disagree with you, racist, and it's like that word used to have a meaning behind it, now it means nothing. That's just another insult.
The problem is,
Just another
it still
insult.
means something.
It does, but to people, the way they use it as like it doesn't mean it. It's just another insult to you.
It's put the problem is that it's politicized. Racism is now politicized, and racism needs to be cut and dry.
Maybe bipartisan.
You hate somebody because the color of their skin is different than yours,
Bad. Racism is bad.
and there needs to
Agree
be
on that?
fact. I get what he's saying. Like there needs to be fact behind that, and now
Say should.
there's no more. There's hardly any fact
Exactly.
behind it.
That's what I
But
meant.
then on the flip side of that, when there is fact behind someone being a racist, the facts come in spades.
So then that means that, so from what they said, by supporting somebody racist, you are inherently supporting racism. So that means anyone who supports Biden is inherently racist then too.
Likes to snip children.
You guys are funny for thinking I support either of them.
No. The term in general, right?
So I get
Is that that's the correct logic we're using? If you support somebody that's racist, inherently you are now racist.
so I get the logic. I get the logic behind that.
And everyone's a racist.
No, yeah, I totally understand the logic behind that, but they again, I don't support either one of them. But no, I understand the logic, and they both said very, very ignorant, very racist things. And I don't understand. And again, they kind of just goes back to the argument of why in the world are these are two choices?
Right.
You know, and no, but to the person that's saying that, I totally get that logic. And I mean, that makes sense to me. You support a racist person, they are a racist. But then Trump has undoubtedly said racist statements. You can't argue that. However, he has put forward policy that has helped out minorities. So where does that leave you? Is he a racist, or is he just a borderline senile old man that grew up in the ages he grew up? And that shit. And maybe, you know what? There's an argument to be made that maybe deep down he is a racist. He is 100% a racist, but he's putting forward policy to get himself reelected. That is a possibility.
That was used by LBJ.
That is a very real possibility. I don't think, with exception, because bless you.
Oh God.
There's always an exception to every rule, but I think it is hard for most individuals to pinpoint them as a definite racist.
Oh, I think I threw out my back with that sneeze.
That's where I was gonna go with that is we don't elect officials that represent our time. Like how I said, I would have loved if it was Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard on this ticket.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're like 10, 12, 15 years ahead of us of where we're currently at.
Well, Andrew Yates in his 40s, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, I think
Okay, so he's
20.
closer to 15 years.
15.
Still ahead of us, but they're a part of that demographic that's not too far ahead of where we're currently at. But we're voting for individuals that are 70 years old. Or even in the case of what's his bucket, Bernie Sanders, generations ahead of what we currently want right now. They're going based off of the mindsets that they had.
Just in Texas.
All right, now Trump is at 204.
204, Biden 223.
I'm sorry.
But they're going based off of the mindsets that they had as kids and growing up and trying to evolve. The older generation that we have right now is either one, stuck in their ways, or two, trying to conform. And the trying to conform style is not doing it because we're stuck with basically this old set mindset and trying to find a way around appeasing the younger generation while still appeasing to their old school train of thought. You look at crime bills that have been passed by Biden. Do you think that's gonna change just because he becomes president? No.
No.
And even with Biden, I mean, the guy's shown signs of possible dementia, maybe early Alzheimer's.
He was in fucking Florida, I
I didn't
think.
take a cigar.
Yeah, he was in Florida. He was in Florida, and he called them like Georgia or some shit. And then there was a video of him waving at nothing.
there's
Remember when he called all those guys in the armed forces that he was army?
Bunch of dumb bastards.
Bunch of dumb bastards.
well,
Oh.
and then there's
Dog,
another.
have you met us?
I didn't say he was wrong. I didn't say he shouldn't be saying that.
There's another point to be brought up that Biden also said that he was in
Or
office at the time of the Parkland shootings.
Yeah.
Nowhere near was he. No, not trying to pass credit to whomever, but he wasn't in office. He's showing a clear mental neglect.
And just the like stories he goes on, like just make no sense. People actually break him down and they'll put like subtitles on, so you can clearly see what he's saying. Dude, they're on opposite sides. What the fuck is this guy talking about?
And so we're essentially we're voting basically we're voting Trump versus Harris on this.
Yeah.
That's what it's coming down to.
Yeah.
And everybody's so in favor of Harris, yet she stands against every view that a true Democrat
Yeah,
is
she, how many people
against.
she's put in jail over small crimes and laughed and bragged about it. It's like,
And her political history relative to Biden's or relative to pretty much anybody aside from Trump's is very short. Her political history is not that long. And this is maybe controversial, but I question if people are voting based off of the fact that a minority female is about to be put in the vice presidency as opposed to somebody who is eligible for office. 'Cause-
Well, no, that's not. I
I don't
disagree.
think it's that
I
far.
don't think that's controversial at all. Simply for the fact that so many people vote based upon like it's all tribalism, and it's either tribalism or they vote on the side that they believe is right because that's what the conversation is. Conversations are very important, and that's why I started this podcast to sit down with somebody and just speak. Like conversations are incredibly important, but like kind of on the same note, just to really broaden it. A lot of people that I spoke to or have spoken to on and off the podcast, where it's like, hey, obviously I don't make people say like on the podcast who they're voting for. I'm kind of like offline. Reasons that they give for most of the time, there are well-spoken people in my life, obviously, but what's worrying is that most of the time it's I'm voting for X because they're not Y.
no, literally, like I've never, even on like Republican side, you ask them, okay, well, why are you voting for them? Well, it's because it's not this, it's because I'm afraid if this person wants to be, it's not because, because their policy is that you're planning to set up, it's going to help me and my family because of this. It's never that.
Yeah.
It's never, because this is what they believe. I think it's just people that
So
are,
to switch the topic to something a little more light-hearted.
please.
Oh God. You're my guy for all things Call of Duty.
hey.
Well, both of you. Yeah, both of you. You're the household.
The household.
The household.
The
You
COD
guys
household.
are my guys for Call of Duty.
Yeah, the experience is way better.
So what's
You don't mean
what,
that.
so what's going
You don't
on with
mean
that
that.
right now? What's the latest and greatest of Call of Duty?
So
Yeah. What, next week? Or a week after?
I think it's later in November.
Yeah, it's like mid to late November.
Oh wait, no, maybe November. Anyways, despite when it's coming out, Black Ops is gonna be released.
Cold War.
Yeah,
Oh, Black Ops Cold War.
Yeah, everything that I've seen about that, it looks like they've made major improvements. I've seen a couple people say it's a little bit more arcadey looking. And
It feels
feel-
weird too, because I played the beta and it felt weird.
Well, every beta does.
Yes,
But-
true. So that's why I'm not putting a lot of thought into that.
A couple good YouTubers have said it's a little bit more arcadey.
You're alive, sir.
A couple of YouTubers have said it's a little bit more arcadey, and
Slow down.
they like that because it's a huge break from
Like hyper-realism.
from the hyper-realism that we're experiencing now in Modern Warfare. And that's cool because you want to know why? Because when Modern Warfare 2 inevitably comes out, we're gonna get a new game. That's the thing is, the COD fan base is so caveman ooga booga brain that you have to give them something different to either bitch or love.
Yeah.
They need something to complain about or something to love in all of its totality, and
Biden just went up. Sorry, Biden just went up 4.
What's up, Thomas?
I don't know what you want.
We just took Washington.
Or no,
You getting ingrates? Oh, give this thing. Oh, not you. I got 2 from you.
Oh. But I mean, the fun part is we're getting a new game. We're getting something that's completely different as opposed to what we're used to. Some people say we won't get a new Warzone until 2021. That's fine because it's still in a year or like a few
But
months.
zombies, we're getting zombies back.
Oh, we're getting badass
That's
zombies.
why I'm buying Cold War.
Oh,
The
it's
boys on zombies again?
The boys on zombies.
That's middle school dreams. We need to relive that.
That's sad that we're just chasing that.
the
Chasing
nostalgia
that
that
big
we're
We're
in.
trying to chase that pill.
That nostalgia of like 2012 of coming home out of school and just hanging out with your boys. 2013 of just like, you know, sitting there and just like, I'm
Screw
done
that.
with
That's
school.
like 08, 09 was the best feeling.
Yeah, honestly, I remember going back home and I had to have my Xbox set up in the kitchen because that's where the router was and the Wi-Fi didn't work, so I had to have it actually plugged in. And so I'd be sitting on top of the counter where the dishwasher was right underneath me, and I'd be sitting there like playing on this little like 15-inch TV, and like people were always walking in front of me, and like my
No,
dad would walk by and fuck with me.
The best feelings ever was when you and your buddy made plans at school to go play, then like one of y'all's moms would drive like one's house, grab his PlayStation, grab his TV, whole 9 yards, come set it up into your room, and then both you guys would just be able to go in like best feeling in the world.
land parties.
Your mom would come order you pizza, like that was just the best.
Your mom sounds cool.
I might be pushing a little bit. I might have been more friends' moms than my mom. She has got us pizza a couple times and just kind of like allow friends to come over to bring TVs, bring whatever. But yeah, no, it was fun. And those were the good days.
She definitely allowed me to come over.
Yeah. You lived at my house for a good while.
Like 2 months.
he lived at my house too.
At least she was kind of homeless for a while. We took him in.
Fuck off. I was homeless, leave me alone. But no, it's just very exciting to see that like the essence of games is going more towards the gamers as opposed to what the production studios are just trying to fucking
Finally.
shit out.
I remember Infinite Warfare, and I remember playing that, and I was like, this is, like, not good. Like, nothing about
Yeah.
this, except for the zombies.
Yeah.
Zombies was fun, but
No.
the campaign was so bad.
Robot zombies was not.
No, zombies, no, you're thinking about Advanced Warfare.
Oh, okay.
Infinite
Never mind.
had zombies in space.
Zombies
Shout out
in
to shout out to Coleman Briscoe for grinding out Infinite Warfare zombies. But yeah, Infinite Warfare zombies in Spaceland, and that was the good one.
Yeah, that was fun.
And like
Me and you used to play the shit out of that.
and like recently like we had Black Ops 4 and that level of zombies was just
Trash.
it was a
Well, they brought back Classic once they did that, but it was like they were forced to because people were just pissed. And that was one of those things basically saying that we will just give them a game and they're gonna like it no matter what. And we showed them that we wouldn't.
Who did you piss off?
Did you piss off somebody?
Bro! I didn't realize I'd have to read a novel.
How did you make that?
I'm not gonna dive into this, but basically someone's mad that we're not talking about, basically that we have it's glad that we feel comfortable talking about video game. It's glad that we're comfortable talking about video games because we don't have to worry about women getting our bodily rights getting taken away. I don't know. I was
No, we
trying
just
to
have
talk
to worry
something-
about men just not offing themselves in their bathroom. That's all we have to
I
worry
was just
about.
trying to talk about something fun. I'm sorry that
Yeah.
I heard this person, but whatever. Back to Call of Duty. Sorry.
Excuse us for trying to have a lighthearted topic in
Because I'm not gonna lie, I told you guys before we started, this me and you texted about it a little bit today. Like we texted about it off and on. The build up in the past couple months of this election, you could feel tension
Bad.
in
You were
society.
You were afraid to even just speak anything that remotely could have some type of political tie to, and if you did, you always talked around it in a way to kind of see what the room was at before you went in.
Yeah, like you can
It
feel
sucks.
tension, and like today going around for my job, and afterwards, I can just feel the tension in the air. And like leading up to this, I've just been fucking anxious, man. Because like because I'm like, you know what? no matter what happens, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna do everything else.
Yeah, like we're gonna be okay, but now it's just like,
But
fuck,
now
man,
it's like,
are we gonna be okay?
are we gonna be okay? If Trump wins, am I gonna have a truck that's not on fire tomorrow?
Here's my thing, is despite the immediate reactions of what or whomever, the American people have always been resilient. And let's say, hypothetically, Trump wins and then decides he's gonna repeal every woman's rights that exist.
Which is not gonna happen.
Which would never
No,
happen.
there's checks and balances in place, like he doesn't have as much power as you think he does.
And let's just say he tries to pull some totalitarian dictator shit out of his ass. The American people are more than strong enough to handle everything that he throws their way. And we're even strong enough to overthrow that shit. We are more than strong enough to do this. And it's our responsibility to know if we're standing up for the right thing or just for the temporary fad of Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, all of that. If we're doing it for the right things or for the right reasons, and we're standing up for the exact idealism that we are sought out to believe for, we will prevail. We always have. There's through peaceful protests, through course of action, through whatever. We've always been the people that have came out on top. And if we just, the thing is whether you're liberal, whether you're conservative, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green Party, whatever you choose to align yourself with, independent, whatever. As long as we come together as a nation and as a people, we will always be fine. That's the thing. Is the powers that be are always going to try to divide us. Why? Because that costs votes. If I choose to divide, if I'm a politician and I choose to divide somebody on X, Y, and Z, all that does is cost me votes. And it's a matter of if those votes are in the right area. But if we as a people come, hey, that's fucked up, or hey, I don't agree with that, then we will prevail.
Yeah.
There's no matter of, let's say Trump wins and tries to revoke women's rights. There's going to be some conservative in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, wherever, any place that you can imagine a conservative may be, they're going to say, hey, that's bullshit. Why? Because we're a people. If there's a liberal that says, hey, I'm stripping you straight up of your rights, they're going to say, hey, that's bullshit. The Constitution, it clearly fucking, we the people are the power. And they can't strip that from us. But we need to realize that and come together as a whole, as opposed to being divided. I mean, was it Abraham Lincoln, a house divided against itself can't stand?
Mm-hmm.
The more and more we continue to fight over every discrepancy that comes to light, they continue to pull the strings. But the sooner that we are able to unite, that less than 1% of our total population is now free once we unite. Once we're able to come together as a people. And not just on a singular view. I could disagree with abortion and somebody could say I'm in favor of abortion. But if it's like, hey, that's your stance, cool. Oh, hey, that's your stance, cool. But we still agree on
And then go vote on it.
on being Americans and we're doing whatever, that's what matters.
Honestly.
We can't divide based on who you voted for in the last election or the current election. We can't divide ourselves based on that because all that does is put brother against brother and then we achieve the Civil War all over. We achieve the same status that we did in the 1800s. The powers that be are basically just pulling the strings for the people that they're sworn to govern, that they're supposed to protect. And that's bullshit. You shouldn't be attacking supporters for who they voted for. You should be attacking the politicians. And this isn't just your president. All the problems of a country doesn't result down to one guy. It results to your Congress, your senator, your governor, your mayor, everybody involved within the political system, and we neglect that. We only bring this down to 2 people right now. And as long as we continue to bring it down to 2 people, we neglect everything, that all of our problems are coming to everybody involved with this political system. We want to attack the highest office in the country, but neglect that your local offices, your city, your state, your senators, your congressmen, all of it. We neglect to understand that they're as equally part of the problem as you give to this one guy, no matter what side it is on. And it's all bullshit. The people of the United States, I think what our population is like 380 million?
Something like that.
380 million people are very much stronger than DC. They're very much stronger than your local municipalities. It's bullshit to bring it down to just what a supporter is. Because a supporter is for 1, 2, 3, all, whatever amount of ideals they choose to support. We as the people are choosing to have aggression towards the opposition, but it's not the opposition in favor of the politicians. We're not in opposition of, oh, Trump. We're in opposition of each other. We're in opposition of the supporter. We're in opposition of somebody that said, oh yeah, I voted for him last year and I'm going to vote for him this year because X, Y, and Z. We're dividing ourselves and letting them have basically reap the benefits of all of this bullshit. And the sooner that we realize that they are what is wrong with this country, not that the people are, but as soon as we realize that the Washington and all of that bullshit is what is causing us our problems, the sooner we can fix shit. But we choose to attack each other instead of going after those that matter.
So I think that's a good notion to take a little intermission. No, it's good. I mean, we need to stop being divided. And I think this year has shown us more than ever that we need to come together as a nation. And we need to fight back.
And be okay with other people thinking a little bit differently than you.
Exactly. So we're going to take a quick pause. I'll throw it back on the Facebook page when we're back. We're going to wait for a couple more states to come back in. And we will be back when we're back. We'll figure that out a little bit. We're going to break. All right. We're going to go ahead and